Welcome bot builders. This is Aryan from Botpress and today I'll show you how you can build a chatbot for your Wix website in just a few easy steps. This tutorial will show you how you can bring in information from our website, much like here, where I have brought in this NGO website and enabled our chatbot to very thoroughly answer very niche questions about this website. And secondly, it will also be automating data collection in a more natural way using AI agents. You can very easily adapt this workflow for your own use case where you want to automate FAQs or data entry. Without further ado, let us move on to the tutorial. However, before moving further, there are a few prerequisites that you need to have. Firstly, a premium Wix website, as this will allow you to bring in an external custom code to the website. Secondly, a Botpress account. So let's start making a chatbot. To start building your chatbot, you can first head over to Botpress Studio and create a new bot. Once the bot has been created, you can open it in Studio and probably choose a nice template for it. I tend to go for start from scratch because it's a nice place to start off with. It gives you enough tools to play around with and it doesn't really bind you in a bunch of confusing integrations. You can go ahead and use this template and okay. So the first thing that I like to do for this Wix website is to bring in our website. You can do that by heading over to Knowledge Graph, adding a website like this, and discovering the pages. This should automatically crawl through the website, list out all the pages that are available publicly, and you can choose what pages and what web pages that you want to keep in your chatbot's memory so that it is able to access those for further answering queries. For the sake of this, maybe just keep our projects, which is the projects, and I think we can include maybe privacy policy or teams or whatever. Okay, let's go ahead and add that. This process should start a indexing process in Botpress where it is going to make chunks from the information that is present on the website so that it is easy to retrieve information from the website later on in case a user is asking for something very specific from the website. So we can refresh it and see if it actually worked. Yep. So our website has been indexed and you can see that our projects have also been indexed. So we'll be looking at it in a sec. The next thing that we are going to do is head over to tables and create an empty table to store all the volunteer names that we collect over time. You can go ahead and name it something like this. All right. Once you have the table, you can create rows of the type of data that you're going to be collecting. I would say we can go for name, which is of type string, email ID, which is again type string, and your program choice, which is the programs the user is signing up for volunteering as part of the NGO. So now we have this table ready to collect all the information from all the different volunteers. Time to head over to the actual workflow and creating the AI agent that is going to be conversing with the chatbots. All right. So once you are in the workflow menu, you can go ahead and create a standard node. Now, standard node is a simple predefined node that you frankly will have a lot of control on because you can directly tell the chatbot what it is supposed to say, what choices it's supposed to give and all that. It is not going to be using any of the Gen AI capabilities just yet. What we can do is we can name this node as first message, wherein we can create a send message card, which will send the initial message to the users. I already have it saved over here, which can look something like this. Welcome to editor, your neighborhood NGO. For a change, we are working towards a plethora of environmental causes with a team of volunteers and generous responses. The next card that we can put is a hearing card, which should let us capture information about what the user intends to do with this chatbot. So, what would you like to do next? Okay. For the choices, maybe we can have volunteer for programs. We can have another choice of know more about the programs. And a final choice can be to close the conversation. Okay. I think we can set close the conversation directly to end and not worry about it. We can also connect our start node to our first message. All right. Okay. So what we are going to do next is create our volunteer and program nodes. These are going to be autonomous nodes. So autonomous nodes, for people who don't know, are intelligent piece of nodes available on Botpress that should allow you to interact with the user in a more natural way without explicitly telling the chatbot what to do. It is going to be using a LLM in the background to come up with what it needs to do, what tools it needs to use, and how it's going to reply to the user, depending on a small instruction set that you can predefine or different accesses that you can give it overall. So for the instruction, for the volunteer node, I would put something like this, which can be so. These instruction would look something like: your job is to help users sign up for a program as a volunteer, ask the users for their name and email as soon as they start conversing, then subsequently ask them if they want to know what program they want to sign up for, and eventually, like, to wind up the conversation, you can have something like, oh, once you collect all their email, ask them if they want to volunteer for something else. This allows you to keep the conversation going in a more natural way and maximize your ROI. So, say once you have set up the instructions for the volunteer, maybe what we can do is bring in our volunteer table that we had made earlier. What we'll do here is give it the ability to add the user details to this chatbot. You can have a small instruction over here like using user details, collect the volunteer data, and systematically add them to the table. Maybe you can give it the option to create rows. I feel like that's more than enough. And second thing that we are going to do is create a AI transition. Now, AI transition, for people who don't know, is a way to um, divert the conversation somewhere else without explicitly showing it a bunch of data. Again, over here, an LLM is being used at the background to figure out where the flow of conversation should go next. So for this transition, as far as the instructions go, you can have instructions, very simple instructions like this. If a user is done with volunteering, ask them if they want to head back to the main menu. And to make it all true, the actual condition can be this. The actual condition could look something like this, where you can say that when users shows any intention to close the conversation after volunteering, just ask them whether they want to head back to the main menu. Probably that helps the conversation going or just gives the user a better way and easier way to close the conversation. Once you have created that, one final thing that we can do to our volunteer node to make it all come together very well is actually add the knowledge base so that it is able to go through the website before answering user queries and help the overall sign up process easier. I don't think we need to give any explicit instructions over here because we have already said that if they don't know about the programs, use the attached knowledge base and answer the program's queries through that. So there you have it. That's our volunteer node done. As far as this volunteer node goes, I think for the AI transition, you can just take it back to the first message. Sorry, this is. All right, sorry. Yep. So this should take the user back to the main menu when they show any intention of closing conversation. As far as the volunteer node itself goes, it can come from the initial single choice. And there's our volunteer node figured out. I'm going to quickly create another node for diving deeper into the projects. We can name it program. The instructions would look something like this, where we are just telling it to help the users go through the website with any queries regarding any programs. Strictly use the attached knowledge base. Every time you are able to answer the user's query, use a secondary question and ask them whether they want to volunteer for that program. So again, trying to push the main agenda, that is getting volunteers for the website. Again, you can make this more contextual by adding knowledge base. That is your website. It's going to be pretty much similar. We'll go for the default knowledge base. And we can also have AI transition. Let's just copy this. The AI transition over here will look a bit different because what we are trying to do is take people from the program FAQs to the volunteer setup. So we can have something like if user is done knowing about the programs, ask them if they want to volunteer. And the condition for that could be explicitly set as when users show any intention. Sorry. Okay. The condition could be that when user shows any intention to volunteer for a program. Simple enough. We can take this particular condition. Okay. No. This particular condition can feed back into volunteers, which again, once the user is done knowing about the program, the chatbot is going to ask them whether they want to sign up for it. And if they do, they're going to be taken to the volunteer autonomous node, which is going to handle taking in their information and adding it to the table. Let us name it program node. We can link the program node from the initial message, simply like this. And that's pretty much it. We need not. So there you have the workflow. Let us quickly try to test it out a bit. We can send a message like, hey, welcome to editor, your neighborhood, this thing. Okay. What would you like to do next? So let us know more about the programs. You can see that the nodes are being highlighted, so you know where the conversation is going. Say you go for know more about the programs. It is gonna hopefully tell you about the programs. Okay. So editor offers several impactful programs aimed at environmental, whatever, zero carbon, desert wildlife, renewable energy. Okay. I think we can verify our information. So what we can do is check out if this information is correct. From here, let's try to ask it very specific questions about the website. Say the zero carbon world. There are some numbers here which denote the number of programs going on under this, locations and volunteers. So let's ask it, how many volunteers do you need for zero carbon? And how many locations do you have to going on? So as you can see, this is a very specific question about the website. Currently, the program autonomous node is handling this. It is gonna go through the information and help us answer this question. So it says that it has 200 volunteers and 9 active locations, which is correct. All right. So that section is working. Let us try to check if the intent is working. Let's see. Yeah, I want to volunteer, please. Ideally, this step should take us from the program autonomous node to the volunteer autonomous node. And yep, there it pinged. Maybe we can name ourselves. So we can add our names and email ID. Okay. And let's wait for it to run. All right. So, yes, the volunteering was done. Your support is greatly. Would you like to volunteer for another program? So, this comes from our uh, question, our instruction over here, where we asked it. Yeah, you can ask them if they want to volunteer for something else once you have collected their email and the first program. We can just say no over here, which should ideally take us back to the first message and allow us to close the conversation. And we can do that by this. There. So our chatbot is working. In the next step, I'll show you how you can bring this chatbot onto your Wix website. Okay, guys, I've gone ahead and cleaned the workflow a bit so that you can see it better. To go ahead and deploy it on your Wix website, what you can do first is publish it simply by doing this. This should make your web chat online. Okay, so it was deployed. We can wait for this to happen. Meanwhile, let's try to customize our chatbot a bit. You can do that by selecting customize web chat over here. Maybe change the color because our website is red. Let's go for red on dark theme and save it. You can see that you can add your own CSS style to further customize the website. We need not do that right now. How about we name him Eddie from editor? Once you have the chatbot, you can go ahead and click on share where you can get the embed code. Once you have this embed code, head over to your Wix website. You have to go to your Wix dashboard. Sorry. You'll have to go to your Wix dashboard. Over here, you can select settings, wherein after searching for custom code, you can go ahead and add your custom code. This you can see is the old chatbot. So let's add you can add a custom code by selecting this, pasting your code here. Let us format it a bit. Load code once and body start, apply. We're going to add it at the end as well. This is just to help initiate and close your chatbot properly. And once you do that, the bot should be available on your website. Let's head over to the website and see how it's working. We can refresh the website. And okay, see, our chatbot has gone from Planet Pal to Eddie. So this is our new chatbot. Hey, Eddie. Uh, I would like to volunteer for programs. Let's get started. Okay, so my name Aryan, super at google.com. And once users are entering their program, their email, and their names, ideally it should reflect back in the knowledge base that we have created on Botpress. I'll just show you in a sec. Let's just choose a program for us. So we'll go for rainforest action, please. Okay. No. So that's good. Let's try to see how our table is looking right now. Moments ago, soup at Google rainforest. Yep. So there you have it. We just created a chatbot for your Wix website. I hope this tutorial works towards any other use case that you are looking to adapt it for. Until next time, happy bot building.